And that's no light call. The brother Bo Deal has been an amazing asset to the team, outreach work, and throughout Chicago. He's helped spark a lot of relationships and careers of some of our known Chicago artists, as well as squash and beefs and things of that nature. We got our great brother, my brother, Kurt Toller, doing the interview. And we look for nothing less than an amazing interview from these two brothers. So at the end, the last 15 minutes, same as usual. Uh, have some questions, put them in the chat box. If you want me to ask them, if you want to ask them yourself, raise your hand, and our Queen Sherry will come to you at the end. And then we can have you ask your own questions to the brother Bo Deal. All right, brothers and sisters. So let's get to it.
Thank you, Ali, for that introduction. Thank you for joining us, Brother Bo, who is a legend in his own right, especially as it relates to the Chicago hip hop and street culture. You know, he's a hip hop artist, a manager, entrepreneur, but more importantly, he's been definitely a promoter of peace and prosperity on the streets of Chicago and throughout. So we thank you for joining us today. I think he's on mute.
Yeah.
He's muted.
I say, thanks for having me. My pleasure. I had hit unmute, but then they had me on mute on the other end.
Yeah, so we'll jump right in, and the title of this is Who is Bo Deal? So we'll just start right there.
Who is Bo Deal? A father first, you know what I'm saying? A father, a good friend, advocated for peace, you know what I'm saying? A survivor, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's trying to do the right thing, you know? And coming up in the world of today, it's not easy, you know what I'm saying? Even for the people who change their life and trying to do something positive, you always have something or somebody that try and pull you off your square. So, you know, I think it take a bigger man to let a lot of things go, you know what I'm saying? And I've been dealing with that as of lately, you know what I'm saying? It's still been standing firm. So, you know, that sums it up.
So you were born and raised here in Chicago?
Yeah. I was born on the north side, in the Cabrini Green area. They call it the system now, Town of Garden. It was called Town of Garden when I was there. Then we moved to Noble Square, which is on Milwaukee and Division, before I moved further north, you know what I'm saying, in the Jefferson Park, not Jefferson Park, in the Uptown area and all those areas up there.
What was your childhood like, Bo Deal?
I had a good childhood, man. I was one of the ones that didn't have to do the things that I was doing. Like my mother worked 2 jobs, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that we had what we had. So I was a good kid. You know, I ain't want no trouble. You know what I'm saying? I was a regular kid, like to play video games and feed my fish and all that. And it wasn't until because by my mother working so much, she used to have some of the older guys from the neighborhood, like, take me to the store, take me to go get my fish and all that. And one day I went and got some fish. And the dude who took me, once we got back, he took the fish and then, you know what I'm saying, knocked my teeth out. And that's when that's what really started. That's what changed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like a prime example, a perfect example of a person who turned to that life because of the things that I was pushed into it. You know what I'm saying? So it made me feel like ain't nobody gonna never do nothing like that to me again. So to make a person back up off me, I'll meet you with your aggression and pass you up. You know what I'm saying?
So that's interesting, Bo. So you say it was, and you know, a lot of the young people that we work with, you as well, you know, it's usually one or several traumatic incidents that turn us in the other direction. And you spoke about that. You said a young man who you trusted took something from you and then hit you in the mouth and knocked your teeth out or your tooth out.
Teeth out. My permanent teeth too. So now I have to look in the mirror with my tooth cracked, half gone, and that made me, you know what I'm saying? I vowed I'd never let nobody else do nothing like that to me again.
So was that the beginning?
To that day. Yeah, that was the beginning. That was the beginning. You know what I'm saying, of that, because after that happened, when I came outside, the other little guys, they looking and they laughing, and it just made me get overly aggressive with them. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I started fighting. Then once I started fighting back, I was whooping everybody over the block. So it really made me build my confidence then, because I was like, the reason why I was letting things pass, because I was scared. But once you get your feet wet and you realize, oh no, this is what I gotta do, and it ain't that hard to do it, you know what I'm saying? That built my courage and my confidence.
So you said this was the beginning, but was this the beginning for your involvement in the Chicago street gang?
Nah, okay, after that happened, I was getting into a whole lot of trouble, whole lot of fights, and my mother figured, well, we're gonna move further north. You know what I'm saying? So we moved up north, and she thought that was gonna be a better upbringing for me. You know what I'm saying? So we moved up there, but we stayed in this building called, it was like just one building, a little project building with all Black families in it, but it was surrounded by all Latin folks. You know what I'm saying? So when we used to go to school or walk to school, they'd try and jump on us because we wasn't folks, you know, and they'd try and make us be folks. But because they tried to force us into being something that we wasn't, and trying to, you know, bring that aggression to us, it made us grow hatred and resentment for them. So we formed our own gang called Project Boys. You know what I'm saying? Just the people in that building. You know what I'm saying? It was six families. It was one family on the first floor. They had like one of the families that had about 15 people that lived in that one apartment. You know what I'm saying? So we had our own little gang. Now, when we had the Project Boys, we going up against everybody, like the MLDs, the Spanish Cobras, the Simon City Royals, all them gangs up north, and it became too hard for us. So it was a guy named Tank, who I went to school with. He was a double I with China Joe. Now, man, he like, man, my cousin, them, they double I's out west. We probably need to be some vice lords to get us some aid and assistance. And that's when we went out west and joined that. And then from there, that was my start into the street gang, the gang life.
Oh, that's interesting. So you came from up north and connected with guys from the west side. Did you ever migrate to the west side yourself?
Not everybody always figured, they always think I'm from out west, because I caught a lot of cases out west, because by us being up north, it was so hot up north, we was catching cases like that. Police were so hot. When we went out west and saw that we was able to hang and tote your guns and do what you do out west, that was like heaven for us. So a lot of the guys used to call us from up north to go put in work out west. You know what I'm saying? So my name was big on the west side because we was out there putting in work, but really I'm a north sider. I've been a north sider all my life. So we was back and forth.
So you say you were catching cases. How old were you when you caught your first case?
I caught my first case at 14. I got caught with a sawed-off shotgun, and my mother used to let me get her car. You know what I'm saying? At 14, I didn't even have a license, but she'll let me go around the block and things like that. But I used to go further north up to Clarendon Park, where all the brothers was at. A lot of brothers was at. And we got caught with a gun up there, so I went to the juvenile detention center, went to the Audi home at 14. So that was my first case at 14.
So you caught your first case at 14. You starting to get a name for yourself. Were you going by Bo Deal then, or were you going by something else?
No, it's just Billy, little Billy from up north. It was Billy.
So, so little Billy from up north is coming from the north side to the west side. You say you started catching cases. So, what age were you when you caught your first case where you had to do some time?
Now that was at 16. I called a robbery. I got a rob actually because we was double eyes. Now let me tell you this. This is when I really started catching my real cases. We was putting in so much work up north, and then we started hustling, started getting a little money, and then we was doing a lot of robbing. We was doing more robbing than anything else. But China Joe, you know, they heard, they like, man, them guys up north doing a whole lot. They bringing in money and all this. So they came up north and tried to like extort us. Like, oh yeah, you know, y'all doing this, you got to do this. And I'm like, now this at 16. I'm sitting back. I'm like, man, y'all, we up here doing this. We're not finna give y'all nothing. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, KT was starting Mafia Insane. My cousin Mississippi was with Goog. Goog and them had, you know, they was really the mob. They really put Mafia on the map. So I went against China Joe, and we laugh about it all the time now. I went against him, and we all went Mafia, but nobody blessed me to be Mafia. So I just told all the guys, man, we Mafia, because my cousin was Mafia, and over half of their mob came with me. You know what I'm saying? So I gave myself 5 Universal stars. Nobody never gave me that. None of that. At 17, I had a glove that nobody never gave me. They didn't even know we was Mafia. When KT heard about us up north, he said, man, he sent a bunch of guys up there. And he like, man, they had him on the call. They say, man, y'all Mafia? Like, yeah. He say, who got it? I'm like, I got it. They say, who gave you this? They say, what you got? I said, I got 5 Universal stars. They say, who gave you that? I say, me. But I had about 100 guys with me. And they, you know, he smiled. They like, you know what? He said, I like him. You know, because I ain't smoke or drink to this day. I can't even tell you what a drink tastes like. I never had a sip of champagne, not a wine cooler. I've never had a drink in my life. So they always liked me because I always operated in my right state of mind. So I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I had the mob. So I'm like, either y'all let me keep what I got, or, you know, we'll take this somewhere else. They let me keep my status. And that's what it was. So I was Mafia Insane. They gave me my status. You know, it was respected everywhere from out south up north. We was rotating in the name of Mafia. Now, I caught the robbery. We had went and robbed this spot, and I got caught with the gun. So I ended up doing like 10 months on that. You know what I'm saying? And that was my first time doing a little bit of time, you know, at 16 for a robbery.
So now that story is really, really interesting because you really don't hear guys, you know, able or having the ability to, if you will, bless themselves with juice as it relates to being in the Chicago street organization. So, you know, when people hear that, I know they like, man, so he just came and took something. You know what I mean? I know you're not saying it like that, but, you know, it just that you had that leadership ability and others saw it in you. So they decided, okay, we need to keep them on our side, which is understandable. And so then you say you caught this case. Was that the only time that you were incarcerated? Was it the longest time you were incarcerated?
No, the longest I did was 4 years for a drug conspiracy. And that came, but after that, then I got caught. When I got out for that robbery, I got caught. We went in and I got caught for a shooting on Laverne and Madison. And they caught me with the smoking gun. I went to the joint for that. You know what I'm saying? And I did like 18 months for that. You know what I'm saying? Then I came back home again. You know, that time fly by when you're young. So you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm out. We finna get back to it. You're just gonna be smarter. You always think that you can do it smarter or you can do it better than before. And my man had a dope joint. It was making about 10,000 a day, but it was hot. So he like, man, you know, I'm finna let the joint go because Crony, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people know Crony, gang specialist. So he was on my man. So I'm like, well, he on him. If he leave off the joint, it's my joint. is doing 10,000 a day. I just run off every 50 I run my man off 50. You know what I'm saying? But it's doing 10,000 a day, so we making good money. I had that run for about a year, and then I'm popped for a drug conspiracy. So it wasn't until then when I started saying, damn, this shit ain't working for me, because while I was locked up on my first bit to the penitentiary, my son was born. My daughter was born. Then on my second bit, my son was born. When I came home, he was almost 4 years old. So I missed all that time in his life. And I ain't want to be one of the fathers that have to raise my kids from behind bars, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. So I came home and I had a little money put up and started like doing music, just messing around with it. And it landed me on 106 Park Freestyle Friday. So I did that for a month and a half and made a lot of connects and built a lot of relationships. And that really what got me started with, you know, the connects and the relationship with people in the industry.
So let's go. Let's see how the transition happened, right? So let's go from Billy the Kid, the 5-star Universal Elite, to Bo Deal. How did that happen and when?
It happened while I was in the joint. I still had, see, because I'm gonna say this, right? I say this all day long, and I don't care. I preach this. I've never been anti-gang. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Like when you was into it, I'm against the people who abuse authority and misuse the brothers and send them off. I'm all about uplifting the brothers, because like I actually loved what, you know what I'm saying, the mob. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I am what I am. That's just what it is. I just don't gang bang. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't gang bang, but I am what I am. I you know, it's a part of my DNA. But what I do, I took all the guys that was with me, I took them on the road. I showed them how to get legal money. I put them in positions to win. I gave them jobs with the real estate that I do. You know what I'm saying? And these are all street guys. So I was bringing guys who from the streets, who was with me in the field, and just turned them on to a new hustle, which is why I'm still able to go wherever the brothers at, and they greet me with open arms, and I let them know, man, y'all need to leave that alone. Or I try and mediate situations because they know that it's coming from a righteous place. But that, you know, the transition started on my last bit from a kid. After I got my teeth knocked out, that made me become aggressive. When I moved into the Latin neighborhood, and all the, you know, they tried to force us to be Latin folks, we're not gonna do that. So that made us join our little clique. We had our little clique. The beef was coming, the wars was coming from too many different directions. We needed some allies. So we said, we ain't gonna be folks anyway, just because they want us to be folks. So we're gonna be vice lord. And now we went to vice lord. When I caught my gun case, I thought I could do it better. Still had my juice, still had the guys. That's what it was. When I went to the joint for my conspiracy, that's when I said, man, I gotta use my power, my authority for something else. And when we used to go through those clubs, they used to be like, how you get a support system? Them are all my guys. They were still up under me. We still was what we was, but we were moving in a different way. So we'd go through to a club 50 to 100 deep every spot. Like all this documented. And it won't be no problem because I had my guy. They respected me, they honored me. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I became Bo Deal, when I started rapping. So the guys that call me Bo, I know that's some new shit. The guys that, what's up, Billy? I know they know me from when I was, you know what I'm saying, really out there. Bo wasn't, you know what I'm saying, Bo was on something positive, like trying to get, well, I can't even say positive at the moment, but trying to work it towards something positive. And once I met Gucci, that's really what changed my life, because Gucci had beef with JoJo Capone. Now JoJo was telling people he run Chicago, Gucci can't come through the city no more, you know what I'm saying, and all that. Gucci manager G-Boy knew my cousin Mississippi, and he like, man, Gucci gonna be in the city, but it's GDs that's saying he can't come there. Can y'all hold him down? So my cousin reached out to me because he knew I had the muscle. And I'm like, yeah, we'll hold them down. I say, they like, man, but the GDs, I say, well, the GDs run what? You know what I'm saying? They might run where they at, but they don't run. We vice was something entirely different. We was with Gucci. JoJo called my phone. And he like, man, why you protecting these niggas? I'm like, man, I'm not protecting them. I say, but he with us. And we came to a mutual understanding and a mutual agreement. They stood down and we saved Gucci from that situation. And he embraced me from there. And from Gucci, that's when I met Waka and met Yo Gotti and met, you know, all my real industry connects that really became like my family. And it was more so a friendship than business after that.
So what age were you when you started to realize that rapping was something that you wanted to do? When did you start rapping? At what age?
I was older. I was 27. That's when I came home from the joint on my last bit. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So I was 27 on 106 Park. Yeah.
And I remember
so
you being on 106 in Park too. I remember that, man. You had a great run on Freestyle Friday. Some of these people are too young to realize or to remember Freestyle Friday, man. But you had a great run on there, man. And I was just really happy, man, that somebody from Chicago was on there repping the city and winning the way that you were. So you mentioned Gucci, man. So did you sign to Gucci Man's label?
I was signed to Waka's label. Gucci had,
Okay.
you know, Gucci at the time, his paperwork wasn't together. He ain't have his business in order, and then he wasn't taking his medicine, so you didn't know which Gucci you was gonna get, cause like he really bipolar. You know what I'm saying? So one minute he this way, and the next minute he that way, and I wasn't able to deal with that, cause I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to turn it down when she say the wrong thing. So we get into it, like literally have a conversation on the phone where we argue, and then he called me right back like, hey, man, you crazy, man. And then like nothing ever happened. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of stayed back from him, but Waka used to always tell me, man, bro, I rock with you. And when I get in my position, because he wasn't even rapping, but he spoke it into existence. Like, when I get in my position, I'm going to come grab you. And that's what he did. You know what I'm saying? It gave me a check and didn't make me sign no paperwork, but he was like, I'm signing you to Brick Squad, but I ain't making you sign no paper. Here go your chain, here go your bread. Do you get on? You know what I'm saying? That was the realest. That's like one of the real. That's my brother to this day. His mama, like a mama to me. His brothers, like, I know, you know, I rock with this whole family like blood, because he did the realest thing. He didn't try and tie me down. He put me in a position where I made hundreds of thousands of dollars and was able to invest it in real estate and things of that nature. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Walker, that's my brother.
So, Bo, you came out during a time when this different type of sound was hitting not only Chicago, but hitting the world. So tell me about drill music.
Drill music really was just reality rap. It was really just rapping about what you seen. It no different than the gangster rap that was before our time. The only difference was these guys was talking about, they was putting names out there and talking about people who really got killed and people who they really trying to kill and things of that nature. And nobody had never seen nothing like that before. So by the people seeing that, it just sparked a wave worldwide. You know what I'm saying? It was a good time though. Like, you know what I'm saying? I saw was a bunch of young brothers who had a chance to make it out the hood doing something positive. But in reality, it was only rapping about what we're seeing every day. But once social media, I think, played the biggest part in making things escalate, because at this time, social media popping. You know what I'm saying? Back in our time, we had to get out there, put up posters. We had to pass out CDs. They came and at a time where you could just upload a song on the internet and it do 1 million views and you get a deal without never having to really put in no real work. They recorded it in a basement studio. They ain't paying nothing for it. They shooting $100 videos, whereas when we were shooting videos, it was $10,000, $15,000 for a video. They come at a time where you can pay $100 and shoot a video in your grandmama's house on the couch, and it blow up and get you a deal worth millions and millions of dollars. Where you had guys like me and Bump and LEP and guys like that who really had to get out there and hustle and grind and put the leg work in. They didn't have to do that. So by coming that easy to them, I don't think they really cherished it or really appreciated it like we would have done if we was able to get that type of money. And then I'm gonna tell you this is another thing, like this is a true story. The industry didn't want guys like us and LEP. They didn't want guys who could listen and had a little bit of sense to keep things structured. They didn't have that. They didn't want that. They want these young guys, put them out there so they can keep doing what they're doing. They helped this shit to escalate. They helped it to escalate.
So could you speak on that a little more when you say they
thing.
helped it to escalate, Bo Deal? Could you just speak on that? Because I know you worked with everybody from Chief Keef to Dirk to all the young brothers that were coming up and popping during that time. So when you say the industry kind of helped promote and help it to escalate, can you speak on that just a little more?
They put a lot of the stuff that they knew was gonna spark wars out there. They put flame on it and brought it to the light and glorified it and made it bigger than life. They brought it to the world and make the world say they put that fire on it so the whole world can see this. And now the other side is like, damn, he said that and everybody thinking this, we got to go do this to make us look bigger than what they doing. And it made them guys take chances that they never would have took if it didn't get that type of exposure that it got. You know what I'm saying? Like the industry did that. I sat back and watched it single-handedly because I worked with all of them, from Duck to P. Rico to Killer Kills to Dirk to Keith to, you know what I'm saying? I've been in all their houses and knew they were mamas and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like they respected me because they came up off of Gucci and Waka. Like those was their idols. And they saw how Gucci and Waka upheld me. So that really was the gate to them. You know what I'm saying? Had I not been plugged with that circle right there, I don't think I would have the traction of the type of respect that I got now. But when they saw that I had those guys in my pocket and I still didn't take no sides, I helped them the same way I helped them, they respected that because I didn't hide it. See, you had a lot of guys that was hiding, like, you know, they'll mess with them and then they'd be like, no, I don't mess with them, but really be messing with them. I let them be known, listen, this time I'm gonna get money. I'm gonna rock with y'all, I'm gonna rock with y'all, I'm gonna rock with y'all. I don't have nothing to do with y'all beef. And they respected me enough to where they never asked me about the other side. Keith never asked me about Duck. Duck never asked me about Keith. None of that. P. Rico and them, like they never asked about none of that. Because if you ask me about that, then I take it as if, huh? It don't matter. Yeah, you want to? Yeah, if it, you know, had they overstepped their boundaries and did anything otherwise, I would have cut them off. Like I'm a man of morals. I stand for something.
So you've been around a lot to different places. Me too. Like when you think about Atlanta, New York, and other places like that, what do you think was the biggest difference? So, you know, like New York, they got a different street culture, right? They got different little cliques. But when it comes to that music, they were able to come together, you know, and form a movement the same way that Atlanta did, right? What do you think was the biggest reason for Chicago never to be able to come together and say, we Chicago, the way that other places were able to do?
Because one, it was too many bodies dropped on each side and it wasn't no real structure. These was guys, shorties running wild. So they didn't have a lot of the chiefs was already locked up and a lot of the people with authority was already gone. So if you run with a crew full of car thieves, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be a car thief next. If you looking up to the guy who's doing all the sliding, and this is the guy that you look up to, you ain't gonna have nothing around you but a lot of guys talking about sliding and up with all the chaos. So they didn't have no structure. These guys didn't have no structure. I'll never forget this conversation that I had with Keith 50 Cent and Wiz Khalifa, he had a song with them. They was in Vegas in the desert shooting the video. They waiting on Keith to come. Keith stayed in Chicago playing the video. Supposed to make him, man, get out here. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. We got to get down. This 50 and Wiz Khalifa. He said, man, I left the niggas in the desert. He playing this game, talking about how he left them in the desert. His uncle called me to come talk to Keith to try and get him back focused. And I'm like, how can I get this guy focused? I don't know him like that. You know what I'm saying? They respect me to a certain extent, but I don't have no authority over these guys. You his uncle. So if you can't get him to do it, how am I going to get him to do it? You know what I'm saying? So that right there let me know he didn't have the right people around him. There wasn't no structure and there wasn't no authority figures that respected him around. You know what I'm saying? He had that. And a lot of these other shorties didn't have that neither. So when I come and talk to them about things like that, they'll listen. But as soon as I leave, they right back to doing what they doing because it's like, yeah, you know, I fuck with Bo, but shit, man, this is what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Versus if he had somebody there, how we had it, like I knew back in the days, if one of the chiefs said, that's what it is, shut it down, you're going to shut it down or you're going to get your head cracked. They didn't have none of that. So that was the biggest thing.
So with you working with all these young guys and older guys as well, from like start to where they are now, I mean, I know when you think about the drill scene, man, there's been a lot of loss, man. How has that affected you, man? Just seeing how many people that you've watched and knew personally die to the senseless gun violence in Chicago.
That's what made me work harder, like to try and stop it. Because some of those murders affected me. Like I'm like, damn, he was just here. You know what I'm saying? I had love for a lot of dudes. Like when Duck died, like that crushed me. Like I really had love for this little dude. And on the other side too, like I genuinely rocked with a lot of them guys. And I saw them being in a position because they wasn't bad guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I say that all the time. Of course you got your guys that's in these organizations. Some of them rotten to the core, but a lot of them really like good guys. They just misled and taught the wrong things, but a lot of them still got good hearts and really listen, really good dudes. So that's what made me go harder with trying to mediate some of these situations and try and put some water on some of these fires. Watching a lot of them die the same age as my son 19. You know what I'm saying? So when you watch somebody that's that young die senseless and they don't really know what they dying for. They don't really even know what they warned about. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of it senseless, man. It still is.
So I remember you saying that you weren't anti-gang, and you know, me either. You know, I stand by you with that. We're not anti-gang. We're anti-violence. And I heard you mention that once your daughter was born, you started to have a different outlook on life. Would you say that was one of the reasons? And could you also elaborate on some of the other things that started to happen in your life that started you to go on a road of transformation?
It was my daughter was the first reason. That was the biggest reason, watching her born, but I still was messing around here and there, but I knew I had to do better, you know what I'm saying, for her. Then I took a lot of the guys with me and we channeled a lot of that negative energy into something positive, and I started making the same money I was making out there in the streets, you know what I'm saying? And that's what really made me say, I ain't got to take all these penitentiary chances. I can make good money doing this because I'm a hustler by nature. So if I'm a hustler, I can hustle the legit way and still reap all the same benefits that I was getting when I was out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And then my name ain't got no smut on it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got no scary shit on it. It ain't got no stool pigeon shit on it. It's my name A1 out here. You know what I'm saying? So once I started saying that I was able to do that, make good money, doing something positive, that's really what made me stay on track. And then once my youngest daughter was born, in the process, it made me stop even doing the little small stuff that I was doing to, you know what I'm saying? Because I could be real now, like it was over 7 years ago, like, because my daughter is about to be 8, so it was past 7 years, they can't do nothing about it. But I was still, even though we was doing something positive, we still was what we was, and we still with the tools. My guys got problems. I make sure I keep them tuned up to make sure that they straight, because I still had love. I got love for these little guys, but it wasn't until my youngest daughter was born when I started telling them, you know what, we're gonna avoid all confrontation. People do stuff on the internet. We're gonna ignore this. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? As long as don't nobody cross our circle or trying to harm us, you got a right to defend yourself. Like, I'm never gonna say don't defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? Even with these shorties out here now, I'd never be the one to go tell them, hey, go put your guns up. You know what I'm saying? Because if something happened, because of me telling them to put their guns up and somebody slides through a kill one, now it's on it. You told us to put, no, keep your protection. Make sure that you're safe. Just don't do no slide. Let them, you can coexist. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can live in the same environment without killing each other. I ain't saying be friends. Y'all gotta be homies. Y'all stay over there. Y'all stay over there and live a happy life. Like, I love doing what I'm doing, man. I ain't gonna lie. Even though I moved my family out of the hood, and if I had to move back in the hood, I'd probably cry every night. Like, I don't want to come back. But even on my off days, putting in work, trying to keep them focused. You know what I'm saying? I feel that's my duty, my obligation, you know.
What is Bo Deal's mission today? What does your life's work look like right now?
My mission today is to try and save as many young brothers as I can. Like, I'm not a fool to believe that violence don't stop completely, because it's been going on since the beginning of time, before my mothers were born. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be there. You're gonna have the good and the bad. But my thing is to try and save as many people that I can. You know what I'm saying? The ones that won't help and the ones that won't out, because it's a lot of them that won't out. They don't want to be out here, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to save those and trying to prevent the other ones, trying to convince the other ones that, you know, that you think that this is what you want, but when you're dead, the only people that's gonna suffer is your family, your mama, your kids. You know what I'm saying? When you go to jail, it's only for so long they're gonna keep hollering free you. You know, your baby mama on the market for all of them, your money, whatever you had in that house, they're gonna try and kick that door in and take all that shit. There ain't no loyalty out here. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't, especially now more than ever. Ain't none of that. So I just try and tell them from my life experiences and what I done been through and what I done seen. And then especially, like, they know I knew Angelo. Angelo loved me. You know what I'm saying? KT loved me. Skullbone, Nose, like these guys, Willie Lord and them, like I was a shorty. And so everybody knew that the Chiefs and the guys with the big names loved and respected me, because I came and I was always righteous. You know what I'm saying? I say that all the time. Like, I think the reason that I'm here today, and a lot of my immediate guys in my immediate circle still here today, because we ain't go looking for trouble. I never respected the bully. You know what I'm saying? We ain't never bullied nobody. Every war, anything we ever been in, it was because somebody else brought it to us. And I think the man upstairs showed us favor because of that. We defended ourselves and we did what we did to survive, and we wasn't gonna let you come over here and take nothing or hurt none of us, but we wasn't going looking for no trouble. I never was that type of guy. Never was that type of chief, and never was that type of leader, and that's why they all respect me still to this day, even though they know I stood down.
So what are some of the projects and who are some of the people that you're currently working with?
Right now, from on the major side, I still work with Yo Gotti and Waka, Black Youngster. From the city, I support Polo. I still got El Hitter. You know, he getting back back popping, getting money coming in. We got a lot of stuff going. I'm working with the 2020 Vision campaign. There's like some new stuff that's about to pop from that. I head to Atlanta next week. So we're about to start getting some big names behind that push and that movement. Still doing my real estate. Still doing the violence prevention work. And man, I just sold my condo. So me and my girl, we finna buy a house. We close on that on the 13th. Big house.
Congratulations.
You know
Congratulations.
what I'm saying? So, man, I appreciate it, man. So I'm doing something positive, man. I'm finna do the family thing. My bachelor days is over. The condo is gone now. Where it'll be gone Friday. You know what I'm saying? So man, I'm blessed, man. I can't complain about nothing, man. I'm gonna keep pushing, man, until we can really slow down a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, man, I thank you really for joining us. You know, Chicago's very own, the legend in his own right, man, other than just being a hip hop artist and an entrepreneur, but definitely being a peace advocate here in these streets, man. I'm gonna turn it over to the brother Ali because we have a bunch of questions coming up on the board. So peace, brother. Keep up the work.
Peace,
Brother,
man. Appreciate you, bro.
man, brother Kurt, thanks for, man, a great interview, man. We're gonna keep this thing going. We gotta, there's a question, Bo, that we often want to ask black men when they come on this platform, and one of those questions is, where was your father while you were growing up? I heard you speak about your mother. Where was your father at, if you don't mind?
No, he was something. He wasn't involved in my life. My father left when my mother found out that he had a whole other family, because he was like supposed to be in the military, but he was really with another family. So when she found out that she had 3 kids by him, and then he had 3 more kids somewhere else, and we all was a year apart. So she cut him off, and it's like when she cut him off, he cut us off. So when I turned 16, he came back because she called him like, you need to come help me with him because he out of control. And when he came back, at this time we was in it, and I remember this day like it was yesterday. I'm outside with the guys who came up, and he like, man, let me talk to you. You know, what you doing with your life? I told him, I don't need you to talk to me about what I'm doing with my life. You know what I'm saying? And he left, and I didn't see him again until I was grown. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I was more mature, and he wasn't doing that good. I was doing real good. So to make him, feel like, I'm like, he like, hey, son, I love you. I'm like, how you love me? You know what I'm saying? And I hit him with a few dollars. He's like, no, you ain't getting it. I say, take that. And I left, and I ain't seen him since then. Matter of fact, before that, I had the rap truck with the BET stuff on it. You know what I'm saying? We slide through the hood, passing out CDs. We was really on a real grind. And somebody was like, man, some dude telling you he want to holler at you. I'm like, man, just give him a CD. He was like, no, he want to, how you say he know you or whatever. So the guy. So I go down there with some of the guys, and it was him. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, son, I see you doing good. Your nephew be watching you on TV every week, is when we doing 106 apart. So he see you on TV every week. So I go in the house, and my nephew, Shaq, I still talk to Shaq because it wasn't his fault. He was a kid. He hugged me like, man, I love you, man. I be watching you every week. He was shorty then. He was about maybe 10 years old. And a baby started crying. And he went in the room and came out with the baby with his granddaughter. And that kind of bothered me because he never met none of my kids. I got a 23-year-old daughter. I got a 19-year-old son. I got a 9-year-old daughter. He ain't never seen one of them, not one day. And it's like never laid eyes on him. You know what I'm saying? So when I see him come out, even though my youngest daughter wasn't born yet, and my son was only 1, it bothered me watching him. Oh, you interacting with these kids and showing love to these babies over here, but you don't even know me or my sister babies. You know what I'm saying? And ain't even tried to get to know him. And that was my last time seeing him. He's still around because My sister by him, you know, because I messed with my nephew, and she called and told me he was in the hospital and gave me a number. Was like, you know, call him and check on him. And she gave me the number, but I ain't called. I was like, I ain't mad at you. I forgive you, but we ain't got. I ain't known you in all these years. I don't have a desire to get to know you, but to make sure that I'm still good and that I don't mess up none of my blessings, I forgive you. I love you. I forgive you. But I don't feel the need to have no relationship with you. You know what I'm saying? He made me a better father. He showed me what not to do with my kids. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, oh, well, he don't know how to act because he ain't have a father, I don't agree with that. Like, if you know what not having a father did to you, it should make you want to do opposite so that your kids won't look at you like you look at him. You know what I'm saying? So he made me one of the best fathers in the world. So I love him for that alone. You know what I'm saying?
Often you give advice on your Instagram um, to, you know, the followers and even mostly our population. And I even hear the guys come and say, man, did you see Bo? And man, Bo said this, and they showing me stuff not knowing that we connected. Uh, and I'm just looking like, yeah, that's good advice. Do you think it's the responsibility of other people in the entertainment world who've been through the streets that kind of have that background to give some of the same advice to, you know, the youth?
I think it is to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel like they role models or have to be role models because they playing a role and they doing what they do. It's up to really you and your upbringing and the people to try and show you the right way and teach you to do the right things. You know what I'm saying? But when you've been through as much as I've been through, a lot of those guys ain't really been through nothing. I know a lot of guys in the industry that ain't been through nothing for real. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what it's like to live the life that we live. They may have grew up in the hood and been there like you was there, but you wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference from being you living there, you growing up with it, or
I say you
exactly.
wasn't in it.
So right, exactly. So they don't. A lot of them don't really know. You know what I'm saying? But I feel that they should have some sort of obligation to give back, especially if they contributed to a lot of the shit that was going on. Because I had my hands in a lot of things. I ruined a lot of people's lives, you know what I'm saying? And I know that, including my own, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm righting a lot of my wrongs and I'm not leaving the hood behind. Like, when you see me out, you still see guys that was with me 25 years ago, and they still with me to this very day. And that's why the shorties respect me because they nephews and they little cousin and all that. I bring them with me too. So that's why I'm always still in tune with the streets because I'm still around these young guys every day. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to help them. You know, I feel it's my obligation. I have to right some of the wrongs as many as I can and save as many as I can. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So we got one of our guys want to say something. You got a question? Sherry, go to Mark.
Bo, what up, big dog?
What's
This
happening,
mouse,
bro?
this mouse.
I know who it is. I see you was good, bro.
Shit, chill. You know, now I just wanted to say, you know, elaborate on a few things. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, actually knowing you and shit, like you know what was going on. You know how we really met. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit that was going on in the
Yes.
streets and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I can honestly say about you, bro, and it's like actual factual. You and Kurt, brothers like you and Kurt, y'all actually come to these blocks, bro, and be out here with us when y'all know it's shit going on. You see what I'm saying? Just like the shit that was going on at the Grand Ballroom. You called me first. Moss,
Right.
woo woo. I say, all right, hold on, big bro, before you get that, let me make sure woo woo. How that? You see what I'm saying? If you wasn't the type of cat that you was, a real stand-up guy, that's why when Ali just said, these other celebrities, I always tell Ali, we don't need those celebrities. We need real people that really care. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't respect those type of people who try to come up and act like they really care when they really don't. See, you're a real advocate of really trying to help and push situations because you've been there on these blocks with me personally. You see what I'm saying? When we got when shit going on, you in the dead smack in the middle saying, hey, look, bro, boss. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's people like you that's always gonna get respect and be respected because you actually really care. You see what I'm saying? And you know my position as far as with my guys. That's why I'm on the path I'm trying to go now because I was a part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? I really want to be a part of the situation. You see what I'm saying? And we need more stand-up men that's in a higher position to come and stand shoulder to shoulder with regular street cats. You know what I'm saying? Niggas that's not where they at. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers really need to know is love out there. And that's what's wrong with the shorties now. They don't feel like motherfucker got real love for them. Ain't nobody really out there trying to really help and push towards what's really wrong. You know what I'm saying? And we're not standing up as men, black men, for our females, Joe. You know what I'm saying? We're not standing up. We not doing that, Joe. And I feel like that's wrong as far as us as a culture, as men, as being street prophets, because that's what we are. We run the streets, bro. We make the streets go back and forth. I know I do. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always gonna respect. And just like you said, you're not against the gang. You know what I'm saying? The brotherhood. You're against the violence. You see what I'm saying? It's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, you know, I ain't got to do this with you. I can call your phone. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just want to, you know what I'm saying? Just man, Joe, keep being who you is, big dog. You know what I'm saying? And just keep pushing that message, bro. You know what I'm saying? Keep pushing that message. You know this ain't fool. We talk all the time, text everything. So this ain't just for no credit shit. You really know me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just want to extend my love, big dog.
I appreciate it. You know, it's all love on my end, man. But we'll see what a lot of older guys do why they don't respect them. The young niggas don't respect them because they come in judging them or feel like it ain't no home. I ain't judging you. I know what you've been through because I've been there. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna come in and tell you, oh man, you both. No, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna show you why it don't work. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna come in and judge you. I'm gonna come in and try and help you fix the problem. So, you know, I just think more guys need to come in with that mentality and oh man, fuck these young niggas.
Let me say one more thing. I ain't mean to cut you off, but it was one thing that I had to say. When they asked you about that drill situation, right? I've been wanting to say this for the longest. Everybody talk about Keith, Ide, all of them. Pac-Man is the god. He's the one why it even started. When he was running with LEP, y'all, Bump them, he been talking about drill. He's the one that put it out here. And once he got killed, everybody ran off with the style. And the way drill even came about, it wasn't just about killing, because that's not where it came from. Drill was a movement, what you did. If you got some bad chicks, you drilling. If you just hit a state for 50,000, that's a drill, man. We drilling. We just went down there on Michigan, just spent 20, and we just drilled, G. We just drilled in Saks Fifth. But when Pac died, the concept of the word drill and the drill movement went to something a whole different plateau. And once again, that everybody don't know, everybody was together at one point in time. Everybody was together.
Keith,
everybody had
Louis.
Google on their chest, bro. Everybody, them, come on, we was there. Them concerts, we come to y'all shit, bro. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? You know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you talk about that situation with JoJo and Gooch, if you wasn't there, you don't know about that. You see what I'm saying? You can't talk about that if you don't know about that. If you wasn't in the streets, niggas don't know about that. You see what I'm saying? That's why, you know, that's what I just had to get that off my chest. Had to.
Yeah, that's love. Yeah, Pac. That was my brother.
Come on, man.
Thanks for sharing, Moss. Appreciate that, bro.
Love, man.
One thing we always do, like, you know, here we don't care about the status of the person. We do judge a person on the heart, and there's nobody we bring in front of our brothers without, you know, even trying to understand where they heart at. So it's a lot of people that may want to come and say something, do something, connect. But what we're doing at CRED, you know, we don't let everybody through. One thing that I personally seen in you, Bo, without you really paying attention, is that your ambition to help others go from one place to another. You know, we was just with Ty the other, you know what I'm saying, not too long ago, and I heard it, and I even heard you say something before that, Ty Money. Some years ago, I heard you say something before that. You didn't know I was in the circle, but I heard you say something before that. My point is that at the end of the day, your connection to these young brothers is significant. And could you speak on your relationship with FBG Duck? I know that did something to you, and you hit on it lightly. Can you let us know how that affected you personally.
Man, that affected me a lot because Duck really was trying to do the right thing, man. Like he had stopped disrespecting the dead and all that. You know what I'm saying? He had stopped that for a minute. He had called me like, man, I want to do something positive. Like he was like a little brother, so he always called me for advice. His mama called me and tell me, yeah, Duck's feeling down. I call him, you know what I'm saying? Pop up at her house to go see him and talk to him. You know what I'm saying? Like I had love for Shorty, man. And when he had dropped that Dead Bitches song, I called him. I said, man, Duck, I said, I don't think that was a good move, man. Why you do that? He was like, man, big bro, man, fuck these niggas, man. He said, bro, I was trying. You know, he said, man, you know I ain't made no songs or did nothing, bro. And they still talking about my brother. They still talking about my dead homie. And now my guys looking at me like I'm trying to be peaceful and make the Chicago legends and like I'm riding these niggas' dick. Man, they gonna turn their back on me and the ops still my ops. So I ain't gonna have nobody. So that's why I did it. And I understood it. You know what I'm saying? I get it, especially being a young nigga. How it's hard for me, being me right now, to just let somebody, I'm going through something right now as we speak, but I just block it and just keep it going because I'm older, I got too much to lose, but it still take everything in me not to say, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I fight it. So and go the other way. But, you know, I'm in my 40s versus somebody in their 20s going through that same thing, who don't have that maturity, who ain't been through what I've been through. And you know what I'm saying? It's not that easy. So I understand it. I understood it when he said it. And it just was unfortunate, man, to watch him go like he went. And then, you know, a lot of the guys who disrespected him, them my little guys too. Like I got love for some of those little guys too. And to watch them, I'm in the middle, I try to talk to him, but he like, man, he was just talking about my brother in the song he just dropped and things of that nature. He was talking about my homies. So it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's a vicious cycle that need to stop. I ain't figured out how to attack that part. Now we got them to buy in on not shooting innocent people and killing innocent people, but I haven't been able to get them to bite on the disrespecting the dead, man. That's hard, man.
On the 2020 Vision campaign, seeing that these young, see that he was one of the first ones that really bit into the idea of trying to have a positive voice to the young people out there. And I believe you brought him to the table, and he as a man stood 10 toes down on that decision. But there's another situation that I know that you were connected to with the young man who son was killed, his stepson was killed on Father's Day. Could you speak on how that, just that conversation you had with the father?
Man, when it first happened, you know, I didn't know who it was that just saw it on the news. And then my phone gets to ringing. They like, man, that's Santana. So I'm like, that was Santana's son? Yeah, he was in the car with him. I shot right over to his house. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, at that point in time, he ain't had nothing but murder on his mind. You know what I'm saying? As anybody else would when something like that happened. But how I was able to talk him down, he didn't know exactly where it came from. So he was ready to go hit everybody who they had problems with. You know what I'm saying? And by him not knowing exactly where it came from, I was able to get him to calm down and rethink that before throwing his life away. And him and his girl, now they moved to Cali. So they in Cali now. You know what I'm saying? So he you know, it's still rough for him, but he doing better. He doing a whole lot better. He out of town. He living his life, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but that hurt me because I love Makai like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, these kids ain't got nothing to do with these boys.
Yeah, no, we had an experience like that with one of our participants who away. And when I was one of the brothers who spoke to his father, and to hear him say, ask a question like, what do I do next? That's probably one of the hardest conversations that I personally ever had. I couldn't think of to say not to go and do something. You know, I couldn't think of that part, the CRED part, or the positive role model or whatever didn't come to me, because all I could see is his son in the center. And I could just look at him being a father to his son. So like I said, I know you played that position as well. And these, you know, I think these are sights unseen sometimes, where there's no real textbook that tell you how to manage that. You know what I'm saying? Deal with those type of situations. But what I want to say in closing is that, brother, I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate that you stepped through to talk to our participants, talk to us, and come through on CRED Talks, and hope that you come through on the personal side and see some of the guys face to face, man, because sometimes it's even better to even touch you, shake your hand, give you a pound, and let you know, man, your words resonate with a positive, for a positive, man, because some of these brothers out here trying to do the right thing. So, man, listen, man, next week, man, we're going to be talking about voting and how important is it, and why you should or shouldn't. You know, maybe you got a position. I mean, for those that want to tune in next week, man, so that's the conversation we're going to have next week. So please, man, y'all be looking for the flyer that's coming out. We're going to have that conversation, and hopefully we can get something from it, man. Bo Deal, thank you for stopping in, brother. Like I said, we want you to come through our buildings and talk to our guys whenever you got time, and give us some of that motivation. All right, brother? You on mute. Sherry, you didn't mute him? Yeah, I can see you, man. I know what it is. All right, man. Y'all have a good day.
He's not muted. The connection is not connecting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Sherry. But hey, man, everybody have a good day, man. Chicago CRED, Chicago Talk, CRED Talk. What I'm talking about. Have a good day.